When I was 2.5 years old, my mother gave birth to my baby brother, Danny, and he was born with Down syndrome. I never got the opportunity to grow up living with Danny. I understand they were very different times, and he was in hospice care, and it's something that I really wish I had the opportunity to do. Back in the late 70s, or in that era, you didn't know when a child was born whether it had a Down syndrome or a disability. It wasn't until the birth of the child that you actually knew. And it was exactly the same with Danny. So when Danny came out, they pretty much whisked him away. Mum and Dad didn't really know what was kind of going on. They obviously found out later that Danny had Down syndrome, only mild, but the doctor pulled Mum and Dad aside and said, "Your child has Down syndrome, and this is a pretty serious condition." And their high recommendation was that there are great facilities in the state and they should give Danny to the state and he'd be well cared for. So Danny was living in a state home at Wentworth Falls, and often when we went, I remember holding him and playing with him, and I remember thinking, well, why can't we just take him home? But yeah, we didn't. Looking back, it had a huge impact on me. I was heartbroken. I didn't have my baby brother. And at the time, you're too young. You're a kid. I realised just how heartbroken I was. Joan and Ray, Danny's adopted parents, used to go to Eatons all the time. It was literally, what do you do for fun? We go to, I think it was Eatons Hospital, and we hang out with children with disability. And as soon as Joan met Danny, from that day on, Danny was Joan's boy. So Danny was adopted by Ray and Joan Hall, late 80s, into a loving family where he was cared for like one of their own children, like their son. Around the time Danny got adopted, we lost contact, but there was a sense that he was safe. I remember actually Mum having to go and sign the adoption papers. It was, I would have been 11 or 12, and I remember Mum feeling a sense of relief as well. So he was in very good hands, and he was happy. So Danny had a massive personality, huge. He loved the Penrith Panthers, like loved them with a passion. He would come home and he would just want to watch the footy. That's all he wanted to do. Big fan of food, loved Mars bars, loved Coke, loved Macca's, and Joan would spoil him rotten. He got to live in those 9 years with the Halls. Man, he lived a huge life. He worked, he went to school, he had lots of friends, he was the life of the party, he was emceeing, community events. Like, he lived a very, very absolutely fulfilling life. And all the kids, if you ask them, he was the spoiled one. He's the one that got the extra attention, but it's because he just lit their lives up. Just after Danny's 18th birthday, he passed away in a house fire. That would have been a really hard time for them. They felt like Danny was a gift for them, and they felt they'd let people down. Ray would always grab me by the arm and say, "Sorry I couldn't save your brother." I'm like, "No, you did more than save him." So in about 2017, around what I worked out to be about the 25th year of Danny's passing, I wanted to track down Danny and the Halls. I wanted to understand the story. So the search ended up taking us to the Halls, and over the course of 3 or 4 years, we got to understand exactly how Danny's life was lived, how he was cared for, And that meeting has really shaped the reason and the very meaning for why we started Danny Met Sally. The halls in my time with them truly showed me what it meant to give person-centered care. Danny was the centre of their world. The way they cared for him, loved him, nurtured him, educated him. They never spoke to him as he had a disability. They spoke to him as one of the family. And he was educated that he had a disability, but he had free choice. He got to live the life he wanted, and they cared for him in a manner that everybody deserves to have that opportunity to be cared for, whether you have a disability or not. So they defined what it meant for me for person-centered care. When I approached them to talk about Danny Met Sally and to tell them that it's inspired by not only the life Danny led, but the care that they gave him, they were absolutely thrilled. They thought Danny would love it. You know, his name up in lights, he'd be absolutely thrilled. He'd be looking down saying, oh, this is the best thing ever. As wonderful and special as Danny is and was, the inspiration behind Danny Met Sally is the care they gave. So, yeah, they're pretty good people. So we're now on a mission as a legacy for my brother and the care that he was given to by the halls, to set the standard for what it means to care for people with a disability and give them the opportunity to live the lives they truly deserve.